If ever there has been a symptom of decline in our society, it is Marjorie Taylor Greene. The fact that somebody can be this incredibly stupid, ignorant, inflammatory, and a rampant, frothing Karen can get into a position of power is really a condemnation on our whole society. It truly is. I would trust a homeless crackhead over Marjorie Taylor Greene to accurately try and represent the will of the people. She is abominable, absolutely disgusting. Now, we're gonna watch a quick clip, and then we're gonna watch her appearance on Tim Pool's little show. So let's enjoy this. Let's just absorb this into our meat, our brain meat.
Not only do we have the DC jail, which is the DC gulag, but now we have Nancy Pelosi's gazpacho police spying on members of Congress, spying on the legislative work that we do, spying on our staff, and spying on American citizens that want to come talk to their representatives.
The gazpacho police? The gazpacho police? Oh, no.
This government has turned into something it was never meant to be, and it's time to make it end.
Okay. Well, I mean, obviously, she's trying to say the Gestapo, obviously invoking Godwin's law, but instead she says
Pelosi's gazpacho police, gazpacho police, gazpacho police, gazpacho police.
Yes, gazpacho is cold tomato soup. So thus, people have begun calling Marjorie Taylor Greene the soup Nazi. I have the right to bear soup. Indeed. So she's leaning into the whole gazpacho thing now. Probably at the suggestion of her handlers. It makes you seem more amenable to be in with the memes, even if they're at your expense. But yes, to the goulash with you. The gazpacho police will send you to the goulash. It's pretty fantastic. Yeah. Anyway, just inflammatory, stupid bullshit from Marjorie Taylor Greene. But here we go. This is her on Timcast. Congressman Marjorie Taylor Greene discusses fear of possible civil war and national divorce. It's going to be very level-headed. Very level-headed. I can tell you right now.
Here's the issue, though, because we had Ron Perlman, he's the celebrity who played Hellboy, come out recently and say Republican states should leave and we should leave. And this discussion about national divorce has been on for a long time. But what people don't understand is that's exactly what happened in the first Civil War. It wasn't like you had all of the states fighting in Congress and then all of a sudden started shooting each other. In fact, what actually happened first was several states said, we out. And they went, okay, bye. And then I actually pulled up from the Library of Congress in January of
1861. Was it really just kind of like
61, you had 11 states seceding to form the Confederacy. And Lincoln hadn't even been inaugurated until March.
Yeah.
It wasn't until the South started seizing forts that the North said, hey, you can't do this. So what would happen?
Yeah, I mean, that kind of makes sense. Like, you're running your mouth like, oh, you're not part of the Union anymore. Okay, sure. Wait a minute, you're fucking attacking us? Okay, yeah, there's a problem here. Figure you're just trying to blow off some steam because we told you, hey, no more slaves. I know it's a lot more complicated than that, but whatever.
In the event of a national divorce, sure, California, Illinois, New York might be like, we're going to Canada or something. But then all of a sudden you're going to have...
Ew, why? Ew. Ew. Canada? I'm just kidding. I love Canada.
One state's got a nuclear arsenal. And they're going to say, we're the true government of the United States of America, and those nukes belong to us. And then one of these states, is whichever faction is in control of DC or whatever, they're going to say, no, it's ours. You can't take it. And we're going to then, relocate these weapons. And that's basically what happened with Fort Sumter.
Let me give...
That's quite an interesting take. United States. I really don't quite understand how you're gonna try and compare Fort Sumter. Really? to our nuclear arsenal. That's very strange. That is super, super strange. I'm looking to see for a map. Oh yeah. Okay. It looks like the state with the highest amount of nuclear weapons is New Mexico. Then after that is Washington and Georgia, which are two blue states. Is New Mexico a blue state? I can't remember. I know Arizona's a red state, but I think New Mexico might be pretty blue. I could be wrong. Whatever. It doesn't matter. All I'm saying is, like, it doesn't, I don't really know exactly which way that's supposed to be, like, leaning towards. And also, this is just fucking LARPy shit.
Two examples of successful secession in history that everybody knows about and everybody forgets about. Mm-hmm. And one's very specific to your case. Ukraine used to be part of the Soviet Union, and they left. There were a lot of those.
Well, I mean, the Soviet Union collapsed.
Yeah, I'm glad that Tim, of all people, had to, like, point that out. I mean, how in the fuck are you going to try and compare the collapse of the Soviet Union, one, to the Civil War, and two, to, like, disgruntled fucking jacking off over the idea of maybe having a national divorce? It's very strange. Very, very, very strange.
So
did it? I mean, wouldn't the Soviet Union call it a collapse if America was sort of fragmented? They would look at us and say, "Oh, your federal government got so unwieldy,
That's true.
You overextended your Federal Reserve and your army, and you collapsed under your own weight, and now you're separate states."
That's true.
Okay, so it's been done there, but it's all.
That's very, very bizarre to me. Very, very bizarre. Yeah, the USSR is not the United States. And like I hate when people try and conflate this whole fucking thing too, because Russia is a very, very, very complicated country. Very complicated. And usually when people talk about Russia, they are talking about a very specific part of Russia and a very specific time in Russian history. It's very, very weird. Most of the USSR were annexed states? Yes, they were. They totally were. Absolutely. There's a reason why the people in those countries that once the Soviet Union collapsed, why they were like, yeah, no, we're independent again. Like, what the fuck?
It's also been done in the United States. There's one example, and I was born in the state that seceded that nobody talks about, and it successfully seceded, West Virginia.
June of 1861. Residents of the western counties of Virginia did not wish to secede along with the rest of the state. This section of Virginia was admitted into the Union as a state of West Virginia on June 20th, 1863.
So they seceded from the Confederacy.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. But to do so, they had to split a state in half. And it's been totally accepted. We go on with life as if it's normal that a state just said, we're going to separate. They didn't go back together. When Virginia came back into the Union.
So fucking what?
A state has seceded from a state. It's happened.
What about North and South Carolina, North and South Dakota? Were they once Dakota and Carolina?
No.
Yeah, I think they were always
maybe as territories for a brief moment.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I still don't even really see what the relevancy is on this anyway.
But I think it's naive to believe that the United States is always going to exist in these perfect 50 states under this, under the federal government.
Agreed, Marge. We need to make I was about to say we need to make Puerto Rico a state, but it's whether or not they want to be a state.
Keeps expanding and expanding and expanding. And I think it's irrational for people to think that Americans are just going to sit idly by while our federal government completely becomes tyrannical and out of control, like we've watched it do over the past year. And
over the past year, it's become tyrannical. What the fuck? I swear to God, if ever there was an example of tyranny being very relevant in this country, it was the Patriot Act. Okay? Seriously, man. Seriously. Yeah, D.C. should be a state. 100%. D.C. should be a state.
And no one wants violence. And I'll say again, I'm completely against a civil war, even though the media tries to say I say things like that. I never do. But I do truly believe that if this becomes such a broken nation and we have one party that is trying to rule over, like the Democrats are trying to rule over Republicans, to the point where they are deciding what opinion we are allowed to say, whether we can stay on social media or we have to leave.
How in the fuck are Democrats doing that? I'm very, very confused. And why does it always come down to something so fucking pedantic like a goddamn social media site? It's so weird to me. I understand that social media now is an intrinsic part of our lives. I get that. But at the same time, without things very drastically changing in the way in which we use telecommunications, it is the way it is right now. We're operating under the standards of the market. That's where these things are coming from. That's why, and also the really fascinating part about this too is when you have legit independent researchers going into it, they find that conservative voices are amplified louder than lefty voices. It's true. Even with people, getting their social media accounts yeeted. It's so bizarre to me. It's so absolutely fucking bizarre to me. I don't understand exactly why it comes down to something so whiny and pithy. Like, would you really want to start a fucking civil war because you lost your Twitter account? I mean, sorry, I've lost like 6 of them. Just make another one. What the fuck?
Because we're spreading what they claim is misinformation. If they get to a point where they're saying we're going to control.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty sure she's openly masturbated in public about the idea of Republican states seceding. Yeah. No, 100%. 100%. Like, it's so fucking ridiculous. DC isn't a state because it's a commonwealth. Here's the thing. DC, the city, like the area of DC, has no representation in the federal government. And that's wrong. That's millions of people who have no representation in the federal government. That has to be fixed. It has to be fixed. And it's a no-brainer. Like, it's literally anti-democratic that those people don't have federal representation. It's bizarre. Now, I get the idea that you want to make it impartial, but those citizens in there are not getting anything out of impartiality. They lose by that impartiality. That's the problem.
Control your what you're allowed to do with your body and what you have to have injected into your body, and you have no choice or say.
Wow. So you're coming out as pro-choice then, Marge. Got it. Cool.
They're coming to the point where they're saying this is what your children have to be taught, and parents, you have no input or say. And
that's literally been how education systems have been for a very long time. And parents can have a say. They've always had a say. They just have to get involved in the process.
Your children essentially belong to the state, like some people are actually saying out loud, and that's happening in the state of California and elsewhere. When it gets to that point, you can't just accept or think that Americans are going to accept it. That is when it's okay to start saying, you know what, just like in a marriage, I don't like the way you're treating me. You either have to change. I'm asking you to change, which is what Republicans should be saying to Democrats right now. Stop this behavior. You have to change. We all have to live here together. We should care about our country together. And if you're not, then we need to consider maybe we need to separate. And what does that look like?
But if there's one thing I think.
So I'm not for a national divorce or a civil war, but really maybe we just need to do it. What the fuck? That's what I'm saying, man. Like, she is so incredibly fucking stupid and duplicitous and shitty. I mean, it's not just that she's dumb, because she is dumb, but then she says things that are not necessarily dumb, they're fucked up. And she knows they're fucked up, but she says them in dumb ways to try and get away with saying them. And it's like all around, she's just a detestable human being. Why does he have a katana on the wall? You're asking all the right questions, and I've got no answers for you. He got that for $12 from a Bud K catalog, along with the $22 flintlock pistol replica. Fuck.
I think we've learned it's that the left absolutely believes it should rule over the right.
Exactly. And that's just authoritarianism in general, this
Right.
idea of a leftist, this weird authoritarian bent.
Whatever.
Wait. No. You have to understand a couple of things. Number one, what is leftism? And does leftism look the same as liberalism? Or rather, the democratic idea of what liberalism, which is really barely left at all. And if that's what you're trying to classify as having lordship over, nobody believes that. Nobody believes that. But there are more people in the country dedicated to basically the concept of progressive ideas than there are in hardcore return tradition conservative values. There are. And you can see that represented in the voting bloc. And they don't like that. Sorry. That's just how society works. You're literally arguing against the tide. You know? Like, it's fucking weird. And if things shift, then things shift. That's how a country works. That's how this whole thing works. That's how this whole process works. Nothing that's happening right now is new. Nothing.
Whatever the libertarian side of things are, the freedom, which includes a large faction of people, they're basically saying, leave me alone. I'll go do my thing. Leave me alone. But they're saying, no, I'm not going to leave you alone. You're going to do as you're told or else.
Yeah.
Like
That
what?
doesn't sound like you can have a peaceful divorce. I mean, you've got a husband and a wife, and the wife's saying, I want to leave. And the husband's like, don't you dare or else. I mean, you're going to need more than just a court order. You're going to need police intervention and protections. So
What the fuck is he even talking about?
maybe, you know, when you see people like Ron Perlman, when you see like John
The Democrats are usually to the right of most right-wing European parties. Yeah, agreed. Absolutely. Like, if anything is a legit cause for like alarm in this country, it would be realizing that and like not being very happy with it and being quite uncomfortable. And the thing is, too, most people don't realize that. Most Americans, I'd say probably a good 80 to 90% of Americans have no idea that that's the case. They have no idea. A lot of times they either support the Democrats out of necessity because that's the best you got, but also to counter what they perceive, and it's often very rightly so perceived in the case of people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, the fucking cartoon villains that are part of the Republican Party. Like, it's fucking ridiculous. It's absolutely fucking bananas. Fucking bananas.
John Podesta and Donna Brazile in that 2020 scenario they did with the Boston Globe reported on, where they advocated Western states secede from the Union if Donald Trump wins the election again.
Yeah.
Maybe they will be willing to say, fine, we're out.
Right.
But I will tell you what I love the most about this trope is the city urban liberal types are convinced that they will flourish and the red states and Republicans will suffer. And I'm like,
Yeah?
do you know how to take care of chickens, for instance? Where
Yes.
do you get your food from? Oh, your avocados from Mexico were shipped in to your in the middle of winter, and you're having strawberries and avocado. You have strawberry yogurt with your avocados. Yeah, okay. If you
Yeah, so why would they not be able to get their food from Mexico? Why not? And I don't know if Tim's aware of this, but like California has a massive, massive agricultural system that supplies a lot of the rest of the country. Now, is it up to the same level of the breadbasket? Well, it's different. They're different types of crops. And are there actually quite a lot of people in the agricultural sector in fucking California? Yes, a lot. Tons. Like this fucking bizarro idea that everybody who is like left of center is some fucking latte sipping la-di-da fuckwit is so ridiculous and makes no sense whatsoever. No fucking sense. I know fuck tons of lefty fucking farmers. Tons. They also don't give a fuck about politics. They don't give a shit. It's just so weird. How are you gonna grow your food? I tell you what would happen if you had the left side of the fucking country, like the Pacific Northwest and California secede from the United States. The rest of the United States would go fucking broke. That's just a fact. California itself is one of the biggest generators of income for the entire fucking country. Like, that California, just the state, competes with most Western countries as far as economically. Like, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. But that just is how it fucking is.
If you don't know how to grow your own food, if you don't know how to, and it's not even about growing your own food. We learned this lesson. We planted, you probably understand this. We planted all the tomatoes at once. And that's
Yeah.
a big mistake.
Right.
You plant them 1 week at a time so that the tomatoes ripen not all at once. Otherwise, you're eating 50 tomatoes all at once. We didn't know that because we're a bunch of city folks who moved out to the middle of nowhere. But the people who live in these cities, they get their food shipped in. They do jobs like writing at BuzzFeed or working for, bureaucratic firms or administrative firms or managerial firms.
Yeah, everybody on the left in California and things like that, that's the kind of things that they do. You fucking moron.
They're not the ones that, for the most part, are making the machine churn. So in the event there was a major divorce, I think cities are going to just implode. They're going to go nuts.
Yeah, well, Tim, what you're not factoring in is that all of those blue states have the Reddit moderators who walk dogs for 25 hours a week, and I don't
That's
know that we.
right.
See, it's all fucking like honestly, this feels like fucking copium. It's a constant reinforcement of this idea, this stereotype cartoony fucking idea that without the working class, which they believe the working class is entirely red, conservative, and Republican. And in some cases that can be true, but there is still a massive demographic that are either blue or centrist or moderate, whatever the fuck you want to call it. It makes no sense. It has no bearing on actual fucking reality. And this is the part that really would fuck them up. If you could actually give that moment of clarity to every single vote red blue collar worker of exactly how little their party is working in their own interests, their entire base of working class people would evaporate. Then again, if you did the same thing for people on the left with voting blue and Democrats, that would help. That would happen too, because Democrats don't really give a shit about the working class any more than Republicans do.
Could stand to lose them. In all seriousness, one of the issues, and this isn't just a problem with national divorce or the union remaining together or whatever the alternative is here. It's just an issue of the philosophical differences between left and right here, at least as they exist today. It's not so much that right-leaning people are all saying, I want to mind my own business, I want you to mind your own business. There's certainly that faction on the right. But even the right-leaning people who would like to see stronger government action tend to be much more in favor of local solutions. Whereas with left-wing people, they feel this unquenchable desire to change things unbelievably far away from them that they have no business meddling in, while problems...
Again, I have no idea how exactly he's coming to this conclusion. It's very strange. I can kind of understand the cartoon character that he's creating in his mind here. And I think it looks a little something like this. Let me try and rephrase it in a way that's not completely full of shit and up his ass. People on the right are largely more focused on things that affect them, specifically just them. And as long as their needs are being kept and made, then they are totally fine with leaving things alone. Unless, of course, it's something that triggers them and makes them uncomfortable. Like, I don't know, learning about slavery or fucking, trans issues or whatever. In which case they can just act like total shitheads and it's totally fine. They're not acting on the larger, broader level. They're just talking about how they're uncomfortable. Whereas people on the left might be more willing to talk about systemic issues, things like stagnant wages versus the increasing, and I mean roller coaster level of housing costs, food insecurity, staggering medical costs and debt, student debt, et cetera, et cetera. So really, when I listen to him say this shit, it's basically we're very selfish and these other people give a shit about larger, broader issues. And that's wrong, and that means that they're actually like tyrannical people or some shit. That's how it reads to me. And I disagree with that as well. I don't think that that's actually indicative of people on the right in a broader sense. I really don't. I think most people on the right are almost exactly the same as me. We just have a difference in perspective.
Fester all over their own community. And part of it is because I believe that those external problems are much more abstract, and these are people who aren't really interested in engaging with reality. And it feels really good to say, I'm going to affect change and make the world better without actually doing anything in your own local community. And so they end.
What does he do in his local community? Also, this is the dude that's a hardcore Jesus freak on Tim's panel. That I think he lives at the house too, or some shit like that. And you would not believe how many times I've heard this guy just fucking go off about shit in like a fucking hardcore religious authoritarian way. Like, I'm sorry, dude. When you start talking about the broader issues of people's actions being sinful, you're not focusing on your local community. You're condemning people because they have a difference in perspective. You're a hypocrite, and fuck you.
End up voting for policies that will affect the way other people live their lives without making any personal sacrifices of their own. And so whether we have a national divorce, whether the country stays together, that tendency is not going to change with those people.
I've got another potential solution than national divorce as a solution to like the corruption, the revolving door of people coming out, people getting bribed. Maybe we can set up a direct republic. Right now, for a long time, I've been thinking, I don't think we need the House of Representatives. I used to talk to Mike Gravel, and he wanted to set up what's called the National Initiative. The idea that every American citizen has the right to write laws and pass it into the Senate. And we would all create our own representative from our state, so we'd have 50 representatives of the National Initiative. We in his world, we still had the House of Representatives, but I see them getting bribed, and it's a vulnerability in the system. What if it was a smart contract?
Interestingly enough, I don't necessarily think that I don't really understand his plan yet, so I don't know if it has merit or not. I will give this. I don't remember what this fucking dude's name is. The crusty hippie guy. He sometimes has kind of relevant takes, and he's right. There is a lot of fucking corruption in the House of Representatives. You know, there is rampant bribery, rampant bribery. Where are you? Oh, where are you? Oh my God. Wait. I'm trying to figure out where the massive donors are for Marjorie Taylor Greene. She takes fuck tons of money, millions of dollars, from super PACs, you know. And like, what's the difference? Like, what's the difference in bribes between getting a super PAC? Yeah, feds asked Marjorie Taylor Greene to account for over $3.5 million in unitemized donations. Uh-oh, what? Uh-oh. Gee, Marge, where'd all that money come from? Golly, golly, gee. Golly, golly, gee. So, like, I semi-based. I don't know if his idea is going to have any merit or anything like that. But yeah, why does an already elected member of Congress need $3.5 million? Why? I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying, like, it seems a bit sus, doesn't it? It seems a little bit weird. A little weird.
And all of the representatives, these 800,000 people, vote for the way they want their contract to act while it's in service. And as long as it's there, it's just voting yay or nay as the populace directs it.
I find the notion of going to more of, I know you call it a republic, but more of a democratic type solution terrifying.
Well, I would call it a direct republic. It's actually less of a democratic solution, or it's equally democratic.
Let me be fair and condemn my colleagues at the same time. You know, I don't blame AOC for what she does. 95% of my colleagues, I don't question their motives or blame them for their behavior, even though it's wrong most of the time. I blame the people that voted for them. They're actually responding to the people that elected them.
Okay.
Even you can say all you want about the lobby.
Oh, okay. Who is this fucking dude? Who is this guy? I gotta fucking know. Seamus of Freedom Tunes, Lydia, host representative. Oh, Thomas Massey. That's right. Fucking A. So here you have a fucking a congressman who's saying, I don't blame the actions of my fellow congressmen. I blame the people that voted for them. You know, those are American citizens, you fuckwit. Holy shit. What the fuck, dude? Yeah, this dude is renowned for being an absolute hollow-brained fucking moron. Holy shit.
Lobbyists and the money, and I have talked about how the committees are messed up that way, but the individuals who get elected are fairly reflective.
What bothers me is when they say, when you vote for me, I'm going to say yes to dog walkers. And then they get in, they're like, I'm going to vote no on that. And you're like, what recourse do I have now as a voter? I already, this is what I chose.
Yeah. Well,
I think what
in
we
the
should
House,
do,
every
though-
2 years, you could throw them out.
Yeah, it's just as simple as that. In the House, you could just throw them out. Yeah. There's no other further complications than that. Fucking moron. Oh, yeah. Oh, dude. Okay. No. I need to fucking find this tweet because I swear to God. So Thomas Massey is the guy that sent out this fucking tweet, okay? He sent out this fucking tweet. You mustn't question Fauci, for he is science. To learn who rules over you, simply find out who you are not allowed to criticize. This image is taking a quote that is not from Voltaire and attributing it to Voltaire. Do you know who actually said this fucking quote? A legit fucking neo-Nazi who was talking about the Jews, who is also a convicted fucking pedophile. No joke. No fucking joke, dude. And this smooth brain pants shitter just unironically fucking throws it out there. And really, we need to listen to this fucking guy. How in the fuck is this guy in office? How in the fuck does this kind of shit happen? I do not fucking get this shit. How in the fuck are we in such a fucking decline that this fucking moron and Marjorie Taylor Greene are in positions of power and can rake in millions of dollars from special interest groups and jet set around and fucking have all the fun that they goddamn want to, and the rest of us are left to what? Fuck. I can't think of one person, save for maybe like people I know who went to jail for egregious crimes, like real bad shit, that don't deserve better lives than these fucking morons. Holy shit.
That is true. We have to be
That's a
elected
long
every
time.
2 years.
In today's age,
so-
2 years is forever. It's
No,
so
hold-
long.
But hold on. So
much can happen in a
you
day
get,
now.
When you get a Ron Paul, I mean, how many terms did he serve? He served a lot. For a long time.
He served for a while, and then he came back in like '96 because he got disillusioned. Didn't think it was fixable.
But my understanding
And
is
then
that
came back after he ran for president.
my understanding is the reason he won is because people really like him, right?
Wow. A politician won because people really like him. Amazing. Fucking incredible. Jesus Christ, Tim. What the fuck? Holy shit. Dude. Fuck my ass. Why don't every politician do that? Wow.
Is that true? I don't live in his district, so was it that people just vote Republican? It didn't matter. It was Ron Paul.
The reason most people win is people like them.
Nancy Pelosi.
They
People
love
like
her.
her.
Oh, they love her
In
out
in
there.
San Francisco. No,
Oh,
this
yeah,
is,
they love her in San Francisco.
You know, I'd like to think that people elect an ideology or
Fuck Nancy Pelosi, and I'm pretty sure she gets in usually by familiarity, and also she's probably the best funded fucking Democrat. So her machine to keep her elected, those pesky things more than just like, oh, you could just throw them out every 2 years. It's a lot more complicated, guy.
but in reality, they look for people they like.
They do.
What's the like about Marjorie? I think you're correct. We just can't live with these people anymore. If they like Nancy Pelosi and find something good in her, I'm just lost. I don't know
Tim's
how
joining my movement.
You must find the love for all humans.
I have a second thing.
I can't understand that worldview. I just can't.
I just want to throw one more thing in here about national divorce. I sort of mentioned that even if we break up the federal government, even if all the states go their separate way, one group is still going to have a desire to control. And obviously, they couldn't do that to the federal government at that point. But when you look at so much of the actual censorship that the American people are facing, it's coming from large corporations.
Yes.
And that kind of thing is always going to be weaponized. I mean,
Well,
national divorce or not.
It would depend on your states and how they're set up. But
that's
here's
also fair.
something. Here's a second thing that I think everyone should think about. While we're fighting out our differences here in the United States and among one another as Americans, The biggest thing that upsets me is, as Americans, we aren't coming together as a whole and saying we can put aside our petty differences and our opinions. What we should be standing together on is we should be standing against China. We should be.
Well, I mean, 2 years ago we came together and stood against. Fuck it, whatever.
Standing against globalism, because if you want to talk about authoritarianism and you want to talk about people that really want to rule over us, China is a direct threat to our entire existence. And let me tell you something else. China is embedded in the United States. There are politicians, people that Thomas and I work with, that are completely sold out.
What about Russia, Marjorie? What about Russia? Anyway, whatever. Globalism.
If you have not read Peter Schweitzer's book, the new book that has come out, I highly encourage you to read it.
Guest.
You would be shocked. There's a whole chapter on Dianne Feinstein.
Yeah, I don't really understand why she's bringing up China as if anybody's like a fan of China. I mean, aside from like tankies, and tankies are weird. Tankies are super weird, and only specific like parts of tankies. Because not all tankies are China fans, you know. There's quite a few that are not down with China. No, dude, like, fucking everybody hates China. And for good reason. Like, they're doing a genocide. It's bad. China bad. Everybody thinks China's bad. It doesn't mean that they're going to suddenly start agreeing with Marjorie when she's shrieking about all of her dumb shit. It's so weird. It's so weird. It's so fucking bizarre. Yeah, dude, nobody's like, yay, China. No, nobody.
That woman has been there probably longer than all of us have been alive. They have made so much money through corporate connections, policy, deals that she was willing to make through her powerful position as a senator, with her husband, stock deals, money, investments. I mean, it is outrageous that this actually happened, but it's not just them. It's happened over and over and over again with people in power right here in our country. And this is the kind of thing that I think
people who take millions of dollars in super PACs and don't want to say where they came from, Marge,
we should come together on.
Thanks for checking out this segment.
I swear to God, fucking ridiculous. Wrong, Jeff. Trump was a big fan of Z. Yeah. And McConnell's wife says, yay, China. That's a good point. That's a really good point. Why in the world isn't Marge here, soup Nazi? Why isn't the soup Nazi talking about how much her friend Trump loved China? Loved China. You know? It's so fucking weird. You're pro-choice because you love China? I figured as much, so Fane. I figured as much. Are you trying to get canceled again? I swear to God. It's absolutely fucking bananas. But this whole video, it's nothing but like LARPy shit. And two dumb fuck, two of the dumbest dumb fuck Congress people in our country right now, sitting down with a whole room full of dumb fucks, except for crusty hippie dude. He's like half dumb fuck. He's like half dumb fuck. He's not terrible. I would probably hang out with that dude, to be honest with you. And they're all sitting around in a room, and they're all jacking off. That's what they're doing. They just don't have their genitals out, but they're sitting there just jacking off over the idea that America's going to split up. Do I think America's going to split up? No. No, I do not. No, I do not. Not without overt and immeasurable cataclysm. And you know how I know? Because our country is full of bullshit. Bullshit. Dude, just step outside of it for a minute. Not physically necessarily, but just step out of it for a moment. Even if you're on the right or the left or libertarian or whatever, dude. Just step out of it just for a fucking moment and look at the broad picture of everything that's fucking going on. We've got the most fucking money, the most advances, technology and military, blah, blah, blah. We could barely afford to make sure we can keep veterans off the fucking street. We argue whether or not kids should be able to eat school lunches. We're the only Western country that doesn't have some form of universal fucking health care. We are absolutely fucking bleeding right now because people, working class people, can't even afford a fucking house, and a shitty house at that. I mean a shitty house. You can't, if you have two two people who are making money right now in the home, and they make maybe $2 or $3 more an hour over minimum wage, two of them, they still can't afford a shitty home in probably 80% of the fucking country. You've got these cartoon fucking dumb fucks running the goddamn place. We had 4 years of a fucking president that was a goddamn reality TV star. Our biggest celebrity right now is a guy that got partly big because he had a TV show where he made people eat bugs and poop. What the fuck, dude? What the fuck? So why are we not going to have a national divorce? Because our diet subsists of bullshit. Absolute clown shoes. We put up with so much dumb fuck crap. There is no standard. There's no fucking bar. We just eat up dumb shit like a fucking breakfast cereal every fucking day of our lives. Meanwhile, we literally have to eat the fucking shit like regurgitated like a fucking mother bird. The leftover waste from the fucking government in order to hope to maybe survive while we're inundated with these fucking e-celebs constantly squawking at us and telling us what we should be afraid of and why you and your neighbors are probably going to have a conflict and a war. We are over and over and over constantly being bombarded with this. And you know what we do? We roll with it. We're just like, okay, sure. Okay. Whatever. It literally takes authorities murdering innocent people for us to get off our fucking asses. And even then, it's only some of us to be like, hey, we should change something. And then on the other side, it's like being inconvenienced because you don't want to wear a piece of fucking cloth over your face or take a safe, effective vaccine. These are the things that get us riled up. But with all the rest of the absolute garbage in our lives and the absolute fucking vile, useless bullshit that we hoist ourselves up with and consume like oxygen, you really think somebody's going to get pissed off enough? You're going to motivate half the fucking country to have a national divorce? No. 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 The only thing that this kind of content and Tim Pool's kind of content when he talks about civil war, the only thing it's worth is pornography. Paranoia pornography for LARPers to jack off to. That's its only value, and that's the only reason why it exists. The Civil War ain't coming. Sorry, guys. There ain't nothing more to it than that.